Hi, I'm Roy from Roy's Garage. Today I'm going to be working on a 2007 Lexus GS350 3.5 liter automatic. Car came in, sounds like the brakes is grinding. It sounds like it's coming from the left front, the driver's side front. If you hear a noise that sounds like this, more than likely it could be your brakes are worn out. These are the tools I'm going to be using today to do this job. This is a large water pump plier, hood prop, rubber mallet, 4-pound sledgehammer, 17mm wrench, 10mm wrench, one small flat tip screwdriver, long nose plier, suction ball, Phoenix brake flusher, some penetrating oil, anti-seize, ceramic grease, and a bottle of water with a hole in it. Okay, first I'm going to be removing this rubber cap, loosening the bleeder screw, so I'm going to be removing this pin right here. And then I'm going to be sliding this pin out. Okay, so I'm going to be removing the spring. And then I'm going to be opening up the pads so that I can pull it out. So with my plier, we're just going to kind of squeeze it a little. Okay, so now we're going to be pulling out the pads. Oh, it's all grinding already. Okay, so now I'm going to be removing this caliper assembly. This caliper and the caliper mount is all one unit. So there's two bolts over here I got to remove this whole caliper assembly. Okay, I'm going to be removing these two bolts, one here and one here. So now I'm going to be using this tie wire and I'm going to hang the caliper up here. To get it out of the way. Okay. So this rotor is frozen solid onto the hub. So what I'm going to do is shoot some penetrating oil right around the hub, right in the wheel studs, just soak them. Then I'm going to get my 4-pound sledgehammer. I'm going to be pounding the rotor. Don't worry about making gouges in the rotor because we're going to be replacing it. This what happens when it grinds metal to metal right here, and then this is the grind part of the rotor. It's all totaled. These are the parts I'm going to be using today to do this job. Some premium front brake pads, premium front rotors, brake clean, and .3 brake fluid. Okay, this is a coated rotor. It's a premium rotor. It has a coating on. So when you road test the vehicle, you're going to hear a grinding sound. But the grinding sound is going to go away. All of this coating got to come off. Once the coating comes off, the grinding sound going to go away. Takes a few miles in order for the noise to go away. So before we put this rotor on, I'm going to be cleaning it with some brake clean, just to make sure there's no oil on the rotor. Okay, so this is a 4-piston caliper. I'm going to be compressing each piston in, but before we do that, I'm going to be opening up the bleeder screw, and then I'm going to get my big water pump plier, and I'm going to be squeezing in each piston, and at the same time the brake fluid is going to be coming out. So you just squeeze all of them in, all the way in with the plier. And lock it up. So now I'm going to be installing the new rotor, but before I do that, I'm going to be putting some anti-seize right around this hub. And I'm going to be holding it down with 2 wheel nuts. So I'll be lubricating these pistons and the caliper. Okay, now we're going to be installing the caliper. Okay, so we're going to tighten up the caliper bolts. So I'm going to be installing the pads, but if you notice, this pad has a wear indicator right there. You put this pad on the inside. Before we put it in, I'm going to be putting some ceramic grease on the back. Just put a little bit on the back. That's good enough. Slide it in. And then the outer pad, on the outer pad, put a little grease and slide it in. Okay, so now we're going to be lubricating this pin. Put a little bit grease. So we're going to be putting this pin in, and then I'm going to be putting the spring on. Don't forget to put the spring on. In the kit it came with a new spring, but if your old spring is not broken, reuse it, because it's a lot easier to put the old one in. When you put the new one in, you're going to get a real tough time. So just push it down and slide the pin in and just line everything up. Make sure that hole is facing upwards. Then you're going to be putting this lock right in there. Okay, so I'm going to be flushing out the front brakes, but first I'm going to have to remove the brake fluid from the master cylinder. On this one, there's a screen in here. You got to remove the screen. And with my suction ball, suck out as much fluids as you can. So with my Phoenix brake flusher, I just open up the bleeder screw, and I'm going to be pumping fresh fluid from the caliper up to the master. It uses about half a bottle per wheel. Okay, so tighten up the bleeder screw. So now I'm going to be sucking out as much fluid as I can. So I'm going to be filling up the reservoir. Be putting in my screen. Now we're going to bleed the wheel, make sure there's no air in the system. Okay, so I'm going to be starting up the vehicle. I'm going to be pumping the brake up and down, no more than halfway, until I feel some pressure. Okay, that's good now. So now with my hood prop, I'm going to be positioning it one against the brake pedal and one against the seat. Okay, I'm going to open up the bleeder screw just to make sure there's no air in the system. Okay, that looks good. Tighten it up. Shoot some water on top, because brake fluid is water soluble. Down with air. Okay, so I'm going to be pressurizing my brake pedal one more time. Pressurize it for about maybe 20 seconds or so. Make sure there's no leaks. This guy looks pretty dry. So now put your plug back on. Put your tire on and go test the vehicle. So that's how you replace front brake pads and front brake rotors. If you like my video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I see you in the next video. Aloha.